Big news, the Montreal Canadiens have offer sheeted, is that even a word? They've signed Carolina Hurricanes forward Sebastian Aho to an offer sheet. 5 years, $42.25 million total. That's $8.45 million a year. A lot of implications, let's get right into it. Offer sheets are not common. They're not common because they're rarely successful. Number one, the team giving the offer has got to be able to live with the compensation that you give up, a combination of high draft picks. And number two, the team that receives the offer usually will match because they'd rather keep the known commodity, admit it at a big cost, money-wise, they'd rather have the known commodity as opposed to speculative draft picks. So that's why it's not they don't happen often, and when they do, the team will likely match. But this season was different. We knew that with all the RFAs, with all the cap-strapped teams, with all the teams with a lot of cash, we knew that this was a possibility, and sure enough, on the first day of free agency, we have an offer sheet. Montreal Canadiens to Sebastian Aho, 5 years, $42.25, $8.45 million a year. Three implications that I can think of right away. Number one, okay, obviously Sebastian Aho is a very good player, right? 87 points last season, best player on the Carolina Hurricanes. So here we go. Here are the implications. Number one, at $8.45 million, Montreal's compensation to Carolina, if they do not match, so let's say Montreal gets Aho, they have to give a first rounder, a second rounder, and a third rounder back to Carolina over the next few years. Not the same year, obviously. The implication is if they had given a tiny bit more, 8.5 million instead of 8.45, add in another first rounder, it would have been a first, a second, and a third. So 4 draft picks, but instead of offering 8.5, they offered 8.45 average, and then they lose one of the first rounders. So Montreal would be on the hook for 3 picks, a first rounder, a second rounder, and a third rounder. That's implication number one by going for 8.45 million instead of 8.5 over the average. Number two, of the $42.25 million, 22 million of it is payable in the first 365 days, July 1, 2019 today to July 1, 2020. 365 days, 366 days, however you count it. Basically in the first year, plus 1 day, more than half of that contract is owed, half of the cash is owed to Aho. A combination of signing bonuses and salary. But the key point is 22 million of the 42 million, all in basically year one, as opposed to averaged out over the 5 years. So for a team like Carolina, who's cash strapped, for an owner like Tom Dundon, who might not want to spend that money, this puts him in a very tricky situation. He basically has to, if he matches, he has to commit to paying that 22 million to Aho in the next 366 days. That might be, a sticking point for him. It may not be, but it might be. And the third one is he's got 7 days. The Carolina Hurricanes has 7 days to match this offer. And of course, other teams will want Carolina to take the entire 7 days because while they're waiting to make that decision, Montreal cannot offer sheet another player from another team. So they can't go after Montreal, they can't go after, they are Montreal. They can't go after Toronto, they can't go after Winnipeg, they can't go after Tampa Bay, they have to wait. But if Carolina does match, which I think they will, and I'll talk about that to end off the video, if Carolina does match and they match right away, then Montreal can just turn around and then sign another player to an offer sheet. So other teams will want Carolina to take their entire week to decide. Now, my gut feeling is that they will match. I don't think they can afford to lose Aho, and that, that 8.45 versus 8.5, I think it makes a difference. If it was 8.5, maybe they would want the 2 first rounders, second and third, but they would only get a first, a second, and a third, as I outlined. So I think the fact that, that compensation level, the fact that Aho's the best player, I have it. And Darren Dreger was saying on TSN that they actually anticipated even a deeper, more challenging offer that they'd have to match. So this may come in a little less than they expected. So leading them to match as well. So all things point to, at least early indications, that Carolina will match, but it still makes for some drama, it makes for some excitement on this free agency day. Hockey fans, let me know below, what do you think of the offer, 42.25 over 5 years? What do you think the fact that 22 million, half of it is payable in the first year? Do you think that's dirty? Do you think that's all funny, not funny games, all fair in love and war, so to speak? And do you think, most importantly, that Carolina will match it, and should they match it? Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. I'm gonna say God bless and go Canucks go, even though this has nothing to do with the Canucks. Have a great Canada Day. God bless and go Canucks go.